The day the station found out I was single began with a form. It wasn't even an important form. It was a routine customs update pushed through the orbital network after Dock Ring C depressurized itself for personal growth. I was halfway through a cup of Synthicaf, staring at question 72. Relationship status. I considered lying, not out of shame, out of survival instinct. But the station AI had access to my housing logs, purchase history, and the deeply embarrassing record of me ordering dinner for 112 consecutive nights. Honesty seemed less humiliating than being corrected by a machine. Single, I typed. The screen blinked once. Thank you for your transparency, Citizen Hale. That sounds threatening, I muttered. Transparency improves community alignment. See, threatening. I closed the form and went back to reviewing cargo routes between the inner docks and the agricultural rings. Grain shipments, helium cells, a crate labeled bioluminescent emotional support moss. Normal day. Predictable, safe. 30 minutes later, my terminal chimed again. You have been flagged for intercultural engagement opportunity. I absolutely have not. Engagement promotes station cohesion. I promote cohesion by alphabetizing freight manifests. The message expanded without my consent. 3 representatives from the Illyrian triarchal line have requested audience. I leaned back in my chair. Requested audience sounds like I owe someone money. They have cited you specifically. I don't even cite myself specifically. The door to my office slid open before I could ask follow-up questions. The AI dimmed the lights to what it probably thought was socially conducive. I made a mental note to report it for dramatics. They entered in a line that was far too coordinated to be casual. At first glance, they could have passed for human. Same height range, same general anatomy, same infuriating level of confidence. But their ears, long, elegant, tapering well past their jaws, were unmistakable. Fine metallic rings traced their edges, humming softly like restrained power. The first sister stepped forward. You are Hale. That depends who's asking. We are. That's not comforting. Her expression didn't change, but I felt a subtle pressure at the edge of my thoughts. Not intrusion, more like someone knocking politely on the door of my brain. The second sister smiled. We apologize for the abruptness. Word travels quickly. I filled out one form. Yes, she said, that was sufficient. The third sister tilted her head, her long ears shifted slightly, the rings catching light. You are unattached. Emotionally, financially. Because those are 2 different crises. Her lips curved faintly, romantically. I glanced at the ceiling. AI, did you schedule this? Promoting cross-species dialogue, the AI replied. By ambushing me. The eldest sister clasped her hands behind her back. In our culture, availability is a communal matter. In ours, it's a private regret. The second sister laughed, and I felt it half a second before I heard it. A warm ripple in my chest, like shared amusement leaking across invisible wires. I froze. You felt that, she said gently. Felt what? Me. I pointed between us. That's not a sentence that inspires calm. It was unintentional, she replied. Our resonance responds to emotional variance. Emotional variance, I repeated. Is that what we're calling mild panic now? The youngest stepped closer, studying me with open curiosity. He stabilizes when he jokes. I do a lot of that, I said quickly. It's a medical condition. The eldest inclined her head. We are aware. Of my condition. Of your potential. There it was. The word that turns an ordinary afternoon into a cautionary tale. Look, I said, standing slowly. If this is about cultural exchange, I'm very supportive from a distance. It is about alignment, the eldest said. Alignment sounds permanent. Not necessarily. The second sister circled my desk, examining the holographic cargo map hovering above it. You organize complex systems. I move boxes. You optimize flow. I prevent grain riots. The youngest reached toward the hologram. The display flickered, rearranging itself into a more efficient pattern in seconds. I stared. You just rewrote 3 weeks of projections. It was inefficient, she said simply. That inefficiency was my personality. The three of them exchanged a glance that felt like a conversation happening at a frequency just above my hearing. I felt it again, a brush along my thoughts. Not invasive, curious. You are not afraid of us, the second sister observed. I'm absolutely afraid of you. You are intrigued. That too. The eldest stepped closer. Her presence was calm, deliberate. In our society, partnership is triadic. I don't think I have the scheduling flexibility for that. She didn't smile, but something in her eyes warmed. We do not seek to overwhelm you. That's comforting, given that there are three of you and one of me. The youngest tilted her head again. Numerical disadvantage does not imply vulnerability. Historically, it does. The station lights flickered as a freighter jumped to hyperspace nearby. Gravity shifted a fraction. For a moment, the room felt unsteady. All three sisters' ears shimmered faintly. The sensation in my mind intensified, three distinct presences aligning, then easing. You did that, I said. We stabilized the local field, the eldest replied. Casually, the second sister's smile returned. We are capable of greater displays. I prefer lesser displays. Silence settled between us, not hostile, not comfortable. The youngest spoke softly. You were flagged because your neural patterns show uncommon balance. I get that a lot, I lied. You adapt quickly, she continued. You respond to tension with levity, you resist panic. I am panicking. You are disguising it effectively. I sighed. Let me clarify something. When you say partnership, do you mean dinner, or do you mean shared consciousness and irreversible life decisions? The three of them answered at once. Yes. I closed my eyes briefly. I should have lied on the form. The AI chimed helpfully. Honesty fosters connection. Not now, I snapped. The eldest extended her hand, not touching, just offering the space. We are not here to claim, we are here to assess. That sounds slightly better. And to be assessed, she added. I looked at the three of them, composed, luminous, long-eared conduits of something far beyond my pay grade. You're evaluating me, I said slowly. Yes. I straightened my shoulders. Good. The second sister's brows lifted. Good. If I'm being evaluated, I said, forcing a steady breath, then this isn't a hunt, it's an interview. A pause. The faintest hint of amusement flickered across all three faces. The youngest leaned forward. And you believe you can decline? I believe, I said carefully, that I at least deserve to read the job description. For the first time since they entered, the pressure in my mind eased completely. The eldest nodded once. Very well, Hale, she said. Let us begin properly. Properly, I repeated. That's the word people use before something irreversible happens. It is also the word we use before tea, the second sister said. I don't drink alien tea. It is mostly water, the youngest replied. Mostly is doing a lot of work in that sentence. The eldest raised a hand slightly. The faint hum along her long ears shifted tone, and my office terminal dimmed, then projected a privacy field acknowledgement. Private channel established, the AI said. You're blocking the station feed, I asked. We prefer conversations without an audience, the eldest said. I also prefer that. Usually when I'm not being audited by three telepathic aristocrats. The second sister's smile widened. We are not aristocrats. You arrived with a diplomatic escort. They insisted. That's what aristocrats say. The youngest stepped closer to my desk and sat without asking. You requested a description of the role. I did. I would like a brochure, preferably one with an exit clause. The eldest inclined her head. In our society, triadic partnership stabilizes cognitive variance. That sounds like you're hiring a human emotional support system. The second sister tilted her head, studying me in a way that felt like gentle pressure behind my eyes. You deflect seriousness with humor. I also deflect asteroids with sarcasm. It's a rare skill. You are not dismissive, she continued. You are calibrating. I blinked. Did you just psychoanalyze me in stereo? The youngest's ears flickered faintly. You are experiencing mild adrenaline, increased heart rate, elevated cortical activity. Stop reading the dashboard, I said quickly. We are not reading, the eldest corrected. We are resonating. That's worse. The second sister leaned forward slightly. Resonance does not invade, it reflects. Like a mirror. Yes. I don't usually consent to being mirrored. You filled the form, the youngest said. I groaned. I will never fill out another form again. The eldest stepped closer to the center of the room. Our bond requires an axis. An axis, I repeated, like a structural beam. Yes. You want me to be emotional architecture. We want to determine if you can be. That's not less intimidating. The second sister lifted her hand. May we demonstrate? I feel like I should say no. But you are curious, she said gently. I hesitated. That was the problem. I was. Demonstrate what? I asked. Partial alignment. That phrase contains danger. Controlled, the eldest added. Everything dangerous is controlled until it is. The youngest gave me a look that was almost playful. You may stop it at any time. How? Say stop. That's surprisingly reasonable. The eldest extended her hand again, not touching me, but close enough that I could feel warmth in the air between us. Focus on a single thought, she said. I have many, they're unionized. One, the second sister echoed softly. I picked the safest thing I could think of, spreadsheets. Instantly something shifted, not inside me, around me. I was still standing in my office, still aware, still myself. But layered over my perception were three subtle impressions: order, curiosity, amusement. They weren't my emotions, they were theirs. The eldest's mind felt structured, precise, like orbital mechanics unfolding without error. The second's felt fluid, adaptive, aware of nuance in every fluctuation. The youngest S felt bright and quick, jumping ahead of conclusions and doubling back to test them. It lasted less than 3 seconds. I stepped back sharply. Stop. The sensation vanished. The room snapped back to normal, if normal now included 3 alien sisters watching me carefully. I exhaled. That was not unpleasant. The second sister's lips curved. High praise. It was like being in a room with 3 additional versions of myself, but not myself. That is close, the eldest said. You weren't trying to override me. No, you were harmonizing. Yes, I rubbed my face. That is both fascinating and terrifying. Fear is appropriate, the youngest said calmly. It indicates you understand scale. Scale of what? Impact. Silence settled again, but it wasn't heavy, it was evaluative. You don't actually want a pet human, I said slowly. The second sister laughed again, and this time I braced for the internal echo. It came softer, like an afterimage. No, she said. We want equilibrium. And you think I'm that. We think you might be. Based on what? A form and my questionable sense of humor. The eldest stepped closer. Your neural profile was flagged because you maintain cognitive coherence under fluctuating stimuli. That sounds like I don't freak out easily. You are currently conversing with 3 telepathic off-worlders about shared consciousness, the youngest said. Your cortisol levels remain moderate. I am internally screaming. But you are still thinking. That unfortunately was true. The AI chimed again, external observers requesting update. All requests denied, I said quickly. Denied, the AI replied. You're attracting attention, I muttered. The eldest's gaze sharpened slightly. Our presence is rarely subtle. I noticed. The second sister studied me again, not probing, just observing. You are not asking the most important question. I feel like I've asked several important questions. You have asked how this affects you, she said. Well, yes, I enjoy being me. The youngest leaned forward. You have not asked what happens if we fail. I paused. What happens if you fail? I asked. The 3 of them exchanged another silent glance. The eldest answered. Our triad destabilizes. Define destabilizes. Cognitive drift, emotional desynchronization, political vulnerability. That escalated quickly. We do not take this lightly, the second sister said. For the first time I sensed something beneath their composure. Not fear, risk. You're not here because I'm convenient, I said. No. You're here because I'm statistically improbable. Yes. I laughed softly despite myself. Of all the things I expected to be today, statistically improbable wasn't high on the list. The youngest's ears shifted faintly. You are not prey. I'm relieved to hear that. You are a variable. That's slightly better. The eldest met my gaze steadily. We will not compel you, and if I say no, then we continue searching. Something in her tone suggested that search would not be easy. I looked at each of them in turn. You're serious, I said quietly. Yes, they answered together. I let out a slow breath. Then we do this properly, I said. No resonance without warning, no emotional dashboards, and absolutely no surprise neural mergers before lunch. The second sister smiled. Negotiating already. I work in logistics. Everything is negotiation. The eldest inclined her head once more. Very well, Hale, she said. We will proceed at your pace. The youngest tilted her head, studying me with renewed interest. You are adapting, she said. I prefer surviving, I replied. And somewhere beneath the humor, beneath the tension, beneath the impossible reality of what they were asking, I realized I hadn't asked them to leave. The third day of what I had started privately calling the interview process began with a message from station governance. You are requested in mediation chamber 2 regarding cross-species alignment protocol. I stared at the screen. That sounds official. It is, the eldest said. She was already in my office. All three of them were. They had developed a habit of arriving without knocking, which I had decided to interpret as enthusiasm rather than tactical dominance. You told them? I asked. We informed the appropriate authorities that exploratory resonance was underway, the second sister replied. That sounds like we're testing experimental engines. In a sense, we are, the youngest said. I would like to stress that I did not sign anything. You verbally consented to continued dialogue, the eldest said calmly. That is not the same as becoming a neural load-bearing wall. She almost smiled, almost. We walked together through the station corridors. People noticed. Of course they noticed. Three long-eared off-world dignitaries flanking one human logistics analyst tends to draw attention. A dockworker leaned toward me as we passed. Hale, he whispered, you in trouble? Unclear, I whispered back. Possibly engaged in diplomacy. With them, apparently I have potential. He blinked. For what? I am still waiting on the brochure. Mediation chamber 2 sealed behind us. A holographic avatar of the station's interspecies ethics construct flickered to life at the center of the room. Cross-species cognitive integration requires transparency of intent, it intoned. See, I muttered. Even the glowing ghost thinks this is serious. The second sister's amusement brushed my thoughts before I could stop it. I didn't flinch this time. Progress. The avatar rotated slightly. Representative Hale, do you enter exploratory alignment voluntarily? That depends on how we define exploratory. Define. Temporary, reversible, non-binding, and preferably not destiny-altering. The youngest tilted her head. You exaggerate. I survive. The eldest stepped forward. We confirm exploratory resonance only, no binding convergence. The avatar pulsed once. Noted. I folded my arms. Before we go any further, I want clarity. On what? The second sister asked. On what I am to you. Silence, not uncomfortable, focused. The eldest answered. You are a candidate axis. That's the formal version. Yes. And the informal version. The youngest spoke first. You are stabilizing. The second sister added softly, you are unpredictable in a symmetrical way. I blinked. That is either a compliment or an insult. It is a rarity, she said. I paced once across the chamber floor. Let me ask something uncomfortable. The eldest inclined her head. Proceed. What happens if I align with you and then decide I don't want to continue? The room seemed to hold its breath. The avatar's light dimmed slightly as if waiting. The eldest answered without hesitation. Then we disengage. No consequences. There are always consequences, the youngest said. I looked at her. For you, yes, and for me, she paused, you would remember us more vividly than most memories. That's ominous. It is honest. I ran a hand through my hair. This is the part where a sensible person runs. You are still here, the second sister said gently. I am still here, I agreed. The avatar shifted tone, initiating partial resonance field. Duration 30 seconds. 30, I said, that's specific. The eldest, it was collaborative, like 3 additional processors running in parallel, not replacing mine but reinforcing it. And beneath it all something else. They were nervous. That startled me enough that I nearly broke the connection. You're afraid, I said aloud. The resonance wavered slightly. The youngest responded first. Yes. Of me? Of imbalance, the eldest corrected. The second sister's voice threaded through both sound and thought. We have never considered a human axis. Comforting. You are not traditional, she added. I am painfully traditional. You question, she said. That's because I enjoy remaining autonomous. The 30 seconds stretched, not long. Not short, just enough. Stop, I said quietly. The field collapsed. I exhaled slowly. The avatar pulsed again. Resonance stable. No coercion detected. Good, I muttered. I prefer my coercion detectable. The youngest studied me with renewed intensity. You perceived our uncertainty. Yes, that is unusual. I read rooms for a living, mostly rooms full of cargo inspectors, but still. The eldest stepped closer. You did not exploit it. That would be rude. The second sister's expression softened. You could have. Why would I? To gain leverage. I frowned. Is that what this is? Leverage? No, the eldest said firmly. This is balance. Silence lingered, then I did something reckless. I want to try something, I said. All 3 of them focused immediately. Reverse it. The youngest blinked. Explain. You've shown me your alignment. Let me show you mine. The second sister's brows lifted slightly. Humans do not naturally project. No, I agreed, but we do imagine. I closed my eyes briefly, not to open myself, just to concentrate. I thought about my life on the station. Routine, order, solitude chosen, not forced, late nights optimizing routes, bad jokes to keep panic at bay. The stubborn insistence that no matter how advanced the universe becomes, consent remains sacred. I didn't project it, I just held it. The resonance didn't activate fully this time, but I saw it register in them. The eldest straightened slightly. The second sister's breath hitched, just barely. The youngest's long ears flickered faintly. You anchor yourself deliberately, the eldest said. Yes. You choose stability, the second sister murmured. Yes. The youngest studied me for a long moment. You are not empty space, she said quietly. I should hope not. The avatar chimed. Session complete. No violations detected. I opened my eyes fully. Well, I said, forcing a grin, that was the most intense staff meeting of my life. The second sister laughed softly. The tension eased just enough. The eldest regarded me carefully. You are not prey, she said again. I've been meaning to update my resume with that. You are not a resource, the youngest added. Excellent. You are a choice, the second sister finished. That settled between us differently than anything else had. Not axis, not candidate, choice. I swallowed. So are you, I said. And for the first time since this began, the power in the room felt balanced. By the 4th day, the station had theories. Doc Ring C believed I was negotiating a trade treaty. Agricultural Ring assumed I'd accidentally agreed to marry royalty. Someone in engineering started a betting pool labeled Hale versus Telepaths. I refused to check the odds. You are a topic of discussion, the youngest informed me as we entered the transit lift. I always wanted to be famous for paperwork, I replied. It is not paperwork, the second sister said gently. It is precedent. That's worse. The lift hummed upward toward the observation tier. The eldest had requested a neutral environment. I had requested witnesses. We compromised on a panoramic view and the station's passive monitoring system. I need something clarified, I said as the doors opened. Clarify, the eldest replied. If this proceeds, what changes? You would participate in triadic resonance, she said. That's the official phrasing. Yes. I want the unofficial phrasing. The youngest answered this time. You would not be alone in your mind during convergence windows. I stopped walking. Define windows. Scheduled intervals of shared cognition, the second sister said. Scheduled, I repeated. So I get a calendar invite before my consciousness expands. Yes, that is unexpectedly considerate. The eldest folded her hands behind her back. We do not erase individuality. You blend it. We align it. I sighed. That sounds like merging software. Inaccurate, the youngest said, more like synchronized processing. Still software. She looked almost offended. Organic. Organic software. The second sister laughed and I felt the echo again. It was becoming familiar, less like intrusion and more like a knock I'd learned to recognize. We are attempting reassurance, she said. I appreciate it, I replied. But reassurance usually comes before someone asks you to reconfigure your neural architecture. The eldest regarded me steadily. You fear loss of self. Yes. You misunderstand the structure. Then explain it better. She paused as if selecting words with extreme care. Our triad amplifies divergence. I blinked. That is the opposite of what I expected. We are three because we are different, the youngest said. Alignment strengthens distinction. That makes no sense. It does to us, the second sister replied softly. I rubbed my temples. Okay, hypothetical scenario, we align, something goes wrong. It will not, the eldest said. Hypothetical. She inclined her head. Proceed. Something destabilizes, emotional feedback loop, cognitive overload. What happens to me? The youngest answered without hesitation. We absorb the surge. All of it? Yes. That sounds heroic. It is structural, she corrected. The second sister stepped closer. You are not being recruited as a shield. Good. I bruise easily. We are asking whether you are willing to stand at the center of a system, the eldest said. I stand at the center of a logistics network, I replied. That's stressful enough. This is more intricate. Of course it is. Silence stretched. Ships passed beyond the station's shielding. Energy signatures flickered across the monitoring display. Civilian traffic, trade convoys, life continuing as usual. I looked at them. You're serious, I said again. Yes, they answered together. And you're not pressuring me. No. And you won't. No, that's suspiciously healthy. The youngest tilted her head. You expected coercion. I expected at least mild manipulation. The second sister's expression shifted just slightly. We are capable of influence. I'm aware. We are choosing not to use it. That's reassuring, I said, in a terrifying way. The eldest stepped closer, not touching, just present. You have not asked why we selected you specifically. I assumed algorithms. Algorithms suggested, the youngest said. We decided, based on. The second sister met my gaze. You do not chase power. That's because power usually comes with paperwork. You do not attempt to dominate conversation. I try not to be rude. You negotiate boundaries without aggression, the eldest added. That's called being civilized. It is rare, she said. I laughed softly. You traveled across systems for basic decency. No, the youngest replied. We traveled because you remained stable when observed. That sounds invasive. It is complimentary. I'm going to need a different adjective. The station AI chimed quietly in my ear, external chatter increasing. Rumor probability 83%. See, I said, this is already a spectacle. The second sister glanced toward the ceiling. Public perception does not concern us. It concerns me. Why? Because I live here. The eldest considered that. Then we proceed discreetly. We are already on day 4, I reminded her. She almost smiled again. Discretion is relative. I exhaled slowly. Let me ask something selfish, I said. The youngest's ears shifted faintly. Proceed. What do I get out of this? The question hung there, blunt and unpolished. The second sister didn't flinch. Expansion. Define expansion. Perspective beyond singular cognition. That sounds exhausting. It is also illuminating. The eldest added quietly, you would not carry your burdens alone. That landed harder than I expected. I carry them fine, I said. We know, the youngest replied. You don't know that. We sense the strain you mask with humor. I forced a grin. Humor is efficient. It is also armor, the second sister said. I didn't answer that. The eldest stepped closer still. We are not offering rescue. Good. We are offering partnership. I looked between them. Three long-eared, unnervingly composed, impossibly powerful beings asking, not demanding. You realize, I said slowly, that from my perspective this still feels like stepping into a gravity well. It is, the youngest said. Thank you for confirming. But gravity binds systems, she added, and crushes them. Only without balance. Silence again, ships moved, data flowed, the station lived. I don't want to disappear, I said finally. You will not, the eldest said. I don't want to be deluded. You will not, the second sister echoed. I don't want to wake up one day and not recognize my own thoughts. The youngest stepped forward, closer than before. You will always recognize yourself, she said quietly. We would not choose you if you were fragile. I'm not fragile, we know. I searched their faces. No binding, I said. None, the eldest confirmed. Trial phase only. Yes. Full veto power, yes. And no surprise psychic group chats at 3 in the morning. The second sister laughed outright, agreed. The youngest nodded solemnly. We will schedule. I hesitated. This was the edge. The moment before something irreversible, not because it was forced, but because it was chosen. You're not hunting me, I said. No, they replied. You're not trying to own me. No, you're asking me. Yes. I took a slow breath. Then here's my condition, I said. They waited. If this becomes unbalanced, if I feel erased, diminished, or pressured, I walk. You walk, the eldest agreed. And you don't follow. A pause. Then the second sister answered softly. We would not need to. That answer unsettled me more than anything else had, but not because it implied pursuit, because it implied trust. The youngest extended her hand, not touching, just offering. Shall we continue? She asked. I looked at her hand, at the faint hum along her long ears, at the two sisters standing beside her, at the vast machinery of the station continuing around us. I swallowed. Carefully, I said, and I stepped forward. The betting pool closed on the 7th day. Engineering declared me either brilliantly strategic or cosmically doomed. The odds stabilized at even. I considered that progress. You are calmer, the second sister observed as we stood in my office one last time before the scheduled convergence. I've moved past panic, I said. I'm now at informed recklessness. The youngest's ears flickered faintly. Your neural patterns are steadier. I've had a week to process the fact that 3 telepathic off-worlders want to share cognitive bandwidth with me. That does something to a person. It has, the eldest said. I looked at her. Is that ominous? It is observational. The station AI chimed softly. Convergence chamber prepared. Monitoring active. Ethical compliance verified. Good, I muttered. I enjoy when my existential decisions are ethically compliant. We walked together through the corridor. People didn't whisper this time. They nodded. That was new. A dockworker gave me a thumbs up. Try not to destabilize reality, hail. No promises, I called back. Inside the chamber, the privacy field activated automatically. No holographic mediator this time. No formal oversight beyond passive monitoring. This wasn't a hearing. It was a choice. The eldest faced me first. We proceed only if you reaffirm consent. I reaffirm, I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me. The second sister studied me carefully. You may withdraw at any point. I know. The youngest tilted her head. You are not afraid. I am, I said, but I'm not running. Something shifted between us then, not resonance, recognition. Begin, the eldest said quietly. The field activated gradually this time. Not a surge, not a flood, a widening. Their presence entered my awareness like parallel currents flowing beside mine. I remained centered. I made sure of it. I thought of the station's trade routes, of structure, of order, of the boundaries I had insisted on. The eldest's mind aligned first, precise, deliberate. She did not press. She matched. The second followed, adaptive, smoothing fluctuations before they became spikes. The youngest came last, quick, bright, careful not to overwhelm. The three of them synchronized, and then they waited. For me, that was the difference. They did not pull me in, they left space. I stepped into it. The convergence wasn't loss, it was expansion. I could feel their thoughts not as commands, not as noise, but as additional angles. A political implication unfolded in the eldest's awareness. I understood it without it being forced upon me. An emotional undercurrent flickered in the second's perception. I recognized it without drowning in it. A speculative leap sparked in the youngest's mind. I saw where it led without being dragged there. And beneath it all me, unchanged, present. Separate, connected, I laughed. The sound echoed through the chamber and through the shared space at once. "This is what you were so dramatic about?" I asked. The youngest's amusement flared brightly. "You expected annihilation." "I expected at least mild existential collapse." The second sister's warmth threaded through the alignment. "You are intact." "Very intact," I replied, "possibly upgraded." The eldest's voice resonated clearly. "You anchor without resisting." "That's new," I admitted. And it was. A week ago I would have treated this like an invasion to repel. Now I treated it like a system to integrate, carefully, deliberately, with oversight. The convergence stabilized. No spikes, no overload, no erosion, just balance. The station AI chimed. Convergence metrics stable, no coercion detected. Cognitive integrity maintained across all participants. "Thank you," I said dryly. "Always good to hear my integrity is intact." The alignment gradually eased, not snapping apart but unfolding gently until I was once again singular in perception. Except I wasn't entirely the same. I could still sense them faintly, not inside my mind, just nearby, familiar. The youngest studied me closely. "You have changed." "Yes," I said. "In what way?" The second asked softly. "I'm less afraid of not being alone." Silence followed that, not heavy, just real. The eldest stepped forward. "We will report success to our lineage." "Define success," I said. "Stable exploratory alignment, mutual consent, no destabilization." "That sounds impressively bureaucratic." "It will satisfy them," she replied. "And what happens now?" The second sister smiled. "Now we proceed gradually. No sudden neural mergers at breakfast." "Scheduled," the youngest confirmed solemnly. I nodded. "Good." The chamber doors opened. The privacy field dropped. The station hummed beyond. Life continued. Engineering sent me a message immediately. "Well," I typed back, "reality intact." Ego slightly expanded. "Recommend cautious optimism." A moment later, Doc Ring C broadcast a public update. "Hale survives." I rolled my eyes. "You are now precedent," the eldest said as we stepped into the corridor. "That sounds exhausting." "It is influential," the second corrected. The youngest looked at me thoughtfully. "Other triads may follow. Let's not rush interspecies neural diplomacy," I said. "One improbable axis at a time." They laughed out loud this time. We walked together toward the central transit hub, not surrounding me, beside me. The difference mattered. "You could still walk away," the eldest said quietly. "I know. You are not bound. I know." The second sister tilted her head. "Do you wish to?" I considered that honestly. A week ago I would have said yes without hesitation. Now, no, I said. The word felt steady, chosen. The youngest's ears shimmered faintly. "You are certain?" "I am adaptable," I replied. "There's a difference." The station lights shifted as a freighter entered docking alignment. Energy rippled through the hull, systems adjusted, balance. I glanced at them. "You know," I said, "when I filled out that form I thought I was just updating a database." "You altered trajectory," the eldest said. "Please don't make it sound cosmic." "It is." I sighed. "Fine." but I'm still doing my job tomorrow. We would expect nothing less.